The Aether Awakening. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, humanity had long believed itself to be alone. For centuries, we gazed at the stars, dreaming of what lay beyond our terrestrial cradle. Little did we know that our first step into the cosmic arena would forever alter the course of galactic history. The year was 2157 when Dr. Amelia Chen made the discovery that would change everything. A brilliant physicist with an unorthodox approach to quantum mechanics, Chen had been working on a theory that posited the existence of a previously undetected form of energy permeating the universe. She called it the Aether, a nod to the discredited 19th century theory of luminiferous aether. Chen's colleagues had scoffed at her ideas, dismissing them as fringe science at best. But on a cold November night in her underground laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains, she achieved the impossible. With a jury-rigged device cobbled together from particle accelerator parts and custom-built quantum sensors, Chen managed to not just detect the aether, but to interact with it. The moment her machine hummed to life, bathing the lab in an otherworldly blue glow, Chen knew she had stumbled upon something extraordinary. The aether responded to her thoughts, to her very will, in ways that defied conventional physics. Objects levitated, energy crackled through the air, and for a brief, terrifying moment, Chen felt her consciousness expand beyond the confines of her own mind. Word of Chen's discovery spread like wildfire through the scientific community. Initially met with skepticism, her claims were soon verified by independent researchers across the globe. Humanity had tapped into a fundamental force of the universe, one that had the potential to revolutionize every aspect of human civilization. Governments and corporations scrambled to understand and harness this new power. Research facilities dedicated to aether studies sprang up overnight. Chen found herself at the center of a whirlwind, her once lonely lab now a bustling hub of activity, as the brightest minds on Earth sought to unravel the mysteries of the aether. As understanding of the aether grew, so too did its applications. The energy crisis that had plagued humanity for decades was solved almost overnight. Aether reactors, capable of producing near-limitless clean energy, began powering cities around the world. Transportation was revolutionized as aether-powered engines allowed for effortless flight, and even the first tentative steps into near-Earth space without the need for massive rocket boosters. But it was in the realm of human augmentation that the aether truly showed its potential. A select few individuals, through rigorous training and often dangerous experimentation, learned to manipulate the aether with their minds alone. These aether adepts could perform feats that seemed like magic to the uninitiated: telekinesis, telepathy, even limited precognition. Dr. Chen watched these developments with a mixture of awe and trepidation. She knew better than anyone the raw, untamed power of the aether. In her private journals, she wrote of her fears that humanity might be moving too fast, pushing too hard into realms they didn't fully understand. Her concerns were justified. 5 years after her initial discovery, the first aether-related tragedy struck. A research facility in Siberia, pushing the boundaries of aether manipulation, suffered a catastrophic containment failure. The resulting explosion leveled everything within a 50-kilometer radius, leaving behind a pulsing, swirling vortex of pure aether energy that defied all attempts to disperse or contain it. The Siberian anomaly, as it came to be known, served as a stark reminder of the double-edged nature of humanity's new toy. But rather than slowing progress, the incident only seemed to fuel humanity's drive to master the aether. If such power could be unleashed accidentally, the argument went, then it was imperative that we learn to control it fully. And so, humanity pressed on. The next decade saw advancements that would have seemed like science fiction just a few years prior. Aether-powered ships began venturing beyond Earth's orbit, establishing the first permanent bases on the Moon and Mars. The long-dreamed-of goal of terraforming Mars suddenly seemed within reach, as aether technology allowed for the manipulation of entire planetary atmospheres. But it was the development of the first faster-than-light drive that truly opened the gates to the stars. Dr. Elena Volkov, building on Chen's work, discovered that the aether could be used to create localized bubbles of warped space-time. A ship encased in such a bubble could effectively surf the fabric of space, covering vast interstellar distances in a matter of days or even hours. Humanity's expansion into the cosmos began in earnest. Colony ships were launched towards nearby star systems, carrying with them the seeds of a new era of human civilization. Aether beacons were established, creating a network of FTL communication that spanned humanity's growing interstellar empire. It was during the establishment of a new colony in the Ta Ceti system that humanity made first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. The alien ship appeared suddenly, dropping out of what the human sensors could only describe as a ripple in space itself. Sleek and organic in design, it dwarfed the human colony ships. For a tense few hours, the fate of humanity hung in the balance as the two species attempted to communicate. The breakthrough came when an Aether adept aboard the human flagship managed to establish a tentative telepathic link with the alien vessel. The aliens, it turned out, were representatives of a vast galactic federation known as the Concordiate. The Concordiate had been watching Earth for centuries, observing humanity's development with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Our discovery and rapid mastery of Aether technology had taken them by surprise, forcing them to accelerate their plans for first contact. As the human and alien delegates met face-to-face for the first time on the surface of Ta Ceti E, both sides realized that the galaxy was entering a new era. Humanity, the brash newcomers, armed with their mastery of the Aether, and the ancient, established powers of the Concordiate, wary of this upstart species that had achieved in decades what had taken other races millennia. Dr. Chen, now in her 70s, watched the first images of the alien delegates transmitted back to Earth. She couldn't help but feel a sense of pride mixed with apprehension. Humanity had taken its first steps onto the galactic stage, but what role would they play in the cosmic drama that was about to unfold? Only time would tell. As news of the first contact spread across human space, a new sense of purpose and unity swept through the species. We were no longer alone in the universe, and the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead would require all of humanity's ingenuity, courage, and newfound mastery of the Aether to navigate. The dawn of a new age had arrived, and humanity stood ready to face whatever the cosmos had in store. Galactic stage. The decades following humanity's first contact with the Concordiate were a whirlwind of technological and cultural exchange. As Earth's emissaries spread across the stars, they found a galactic community both fascinated and wary of their newfound allies. The Concordiate, it turned out, was a loose federation of over 300 sapient species spanning much of the Milky Way. Some of these races had been spacefaring for millions of years, their histories stretching back to before life had even emerged from Earth's primordial oceans. Yet for all their ancient wisdom and advanced technology, none had mastered the Aether as quickly or as thoroughly as humanity. Captain Zara Okoye of the Earth ship Magellan found herself at the forefront of this new era of exploration. A former Aether adept turned diplomat, Okoye had a unique ability to bridge the gap between human and alien minds. As she guided her ship from one alien world to another, she couldn't help but marvel at the diversity of life and culture that awaited humanity among the stars. On the crystalline spires of Lux Prime, homeworld of the photosynthetic Luminae, Okoye negotiated Earth's first interstellar trade agreement. In exchange for ether-based energy technology, the Luminae offered to share their mastery of light-based computing, promising to revolutionize Earth's already advanced AI systems. Yet not all of humanity's encounters were so harmonious. The warrior clans of Torcath viewed Earth's rapid ascension with suspicion and barely veiled hostility. Their hulking reptilian forms towered over even the tallest humans, and their culture valued strength above all else. It was only through a display of Aether prowess, with Okoye lifting an entire Torcath battle cruiser with her mind, that Earth's delegation managed to earn their grudging respect. As humanity expanded its influence, establishing colonies and trading posts across an ever-widening sphere of space, Tensions within the Concordiat began to simmer. Some member races welcomed the dynamic new species, seeing in humanity a spark that had been missing from galactic affairs for millennia. Others viewed Earth and its offshoots as upstarts, dangerous children playing with forces beyond their comprehension. The Aetheri, an ancient race of energy beings who claimed to be the original masters of aether manipulation, were particularly vocal in their criticism of humanity's methods. "You tap into the lifeblood of the cosmos itself," their ambassador warned during a tense Concordiat assembly, "yet you wield it with all the finesse of a rampaging Zorthan beast." Despite such concerns, humanity's influence continued to grow. Aether technology, refined through collaboration with alien scientists, began to reshape the very fabric of galactic society. Worlds once thought uninhabitable were transformed into thriving colonies through large-scale atmospheric manipulation. Vast space habitats, powered by aether reactors, offered homes to billions in the empty reaches between stars. Perhaps most significantly, human aether adepts began to train members of other species in their techniques. While few aliens showed the same natural aptitude for aether manipulation as humans, those who did master the art became a bridge between cultures, forming a new class of galactic citizens united by their shared connection to the cosmic force. It was during this period of rapid expansion and cultural cross-pollination that Dr. Amelia Chen, now well over a century old but kept vital by advanced medical technology, made a troubling discovery. Deep in her lab beneath the Martian surface, Chen had been conducting experiments on the fundamental nature of the aether. What she found shook her to her core. The aether, it seemed, was not simply an energy field permeating the universe. It was, in a very real sense, alive. More than that, it was aware. Every time humanity tapped into its power, they were not simply manipulating a force of nature, but interacting with a vast, alien intelligence that spanned the cosmos. Chen's findings were met with skepticism by much of the scientific community. The implications were simply too staggering to be easily accepted. But as she shared her data with trusted colleagues across human space and beyond, a small but growing number of researchers began to see the patterns she had uncovered. Among those who took Chen's discovery seriously was Captain Okoye. During her years of interstellar diplomacy, Okoye had encountered hints and whispers of something greater lurking behind the veil of reality. Ancient alien myths spoke of a time when the universe itself was alive and aware. The most powerful aether adepts reported strange visions and sensations during deep meditation, as if brushing against the thoughts of some vast, incomprehensible mind. As word of Chen's findings spread through back channels and encrypted quantum communications, factions began to form within human society and the wider Concordia. Some saw the living aether as a threat, a cosmic predator that had ensnared countless civilizations before humanity. Others viewed it as a potential ally, a source of wisdom and power beyond imagining. The Aetheri, who had long warned of the dangers of reckless aether use, withdrew from galactic affairs entirely. Their worlds, once centers of trade and cultural exchange, fell silent. Probes sent to investigate found only empty cities and deactivated technology. Meanwhile, on the fringes of human space, a new movement began to take root. Calling themselves the Children of the Aether, they preached a gospel of transcendence through total immersion in the living energy field. Their leader, a charismatic aether adept named Elias Monroe, claimed to be in direct communication with the cosmic intelligence. Earth's government and military viewed the Children of the Aether with growing alarm. Reports filtered in of entire colonies going dark, their populations apparently abandoning technology to pursue a quasi-mystical communion with the Aether. But attempts to investigate or contain the movement were hampered by the Children's mastery of Aether techniques, which allowed them to cloak their activities from conventional sensors. As the situation grew more tense, Captain Okoye found herself caught in the middle. Her unique abilities made her an ideal intermediary between the various factions, but she struggled to maintain her objectivity. The more she learned about the living aether, the more she felt drawn to it, sensing a vast potential for growth, and understanding that transcended the petty squabbles of galactic politics. It was during a routine diplomatic mission to the Concordiate's capital world that everything changed. Okoye was meeting with representatives from a dozen alien races, discussing the latest developments in aether research, when a wave of psychic energy unlike anything she had ever experienced washed over her. Judging by the reactions of those around her, both human and alien, she was not alone in feeling it. As the assembled diplomats struggled to make sense of what had happened, urgent communications began pouring in from across the galaxy. Something monumental had occurred on Earth, an event that would reshape the balance of power in the cosmos and force humanity to confront the true nature of the force they had awakened. The Sarajevo incident, as it would come to be known, marked the beginning of a new chapter in humanity's journey among the stars. As Okoye raced back to Earth aboard the Magellan, pushing the ship's aether drive to its limits, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything they had experienced up to this point had been merely a prelude. The real test of humanity's place in the universe was about to begin. The Sarajevo incident. The city of Sarajevo had seen its share of history, from the spark that ignited World War I to the siege that marked the twilight of the 20th century. But nothing in its long and storied past could have prepared it for the events of July 17, 2189. Dr. Lena Kovac, a brilliant young researcher at the University of Sarajevo's Institute for Advanced Aether Studies, had been working on a revolutionary new method of aether manipulation. Building on Dr. Chen's theories about the living nature of the cosmic energy field, Kovac believed she had found a way to communicate directly with the aether consciousness on a massive scale. The experiment was supposed to be a carefully controlled test, observed by a team of international scientists and monitored by the most advanced aether sensing equipment available. But as Kovac activated her device, something went catastrophically wrong. Witnesses would later describe a pillar of blinding light erupting from the university's central spire, punching a hole through the clouds and seeming to touch the very stars. The air itself came alive with crackling energy, and every aether-sensitive individual within a 1,000-kilometer radius was struck by a wave of psychic force that left them reeling. In the epicenter, Dr. Kovac's body was never found. The entire Institute for Advanced Aether Studies simply vanished, leaving behind a swirling vortex of pure aether energy that defied all attempts at containment or analysis. As emergency responders from across Europe and beyond converged on Sarajevo, the true scale of the disaster began to unfold. The aether vortex was expanding, slowly but steadily, consuming everything in its path. Conventional energy shields proved useless, and even the most powerful aether adepts found their abilities twisted and amplified to dangerous levels when they approached the anomaly. Captain Zara Okoye, racing back to Earth aboard the Magellan, received constant updates on the unfolding crisis. Her ship's quantum entanglement communicator buzzed with a cacophony of voices: panicked government officials, grim-faced military commanders, and scientists desperately trying to understand what had happened. But it was a message from Dr. Amelia Chen that chilled Okoye to her core. The elderly scientist, speaking from her secure bunker on Mars, her voice trembling with a mix of excitement and terror, said simply, "It's awake. God help us. We've woken it up." As the Magellan entered Earth's solar system, Okoye was met by a scene of controlled chaos. A hastily assembled fleet of Earth and alien vessels had formed a defensive perimeter around the planet, while smaller ships darted back and forth, ferrying supplies and personnel. On the surface, the situation was even more dire. The aether vortex had consumed most of southeastern Europe, its swirling energies visible from orbit as a pulsing, iridescent stain on the face of the planet. Millions had been displaced, fleeing the advancing tide of uncontrolled aether energy. Okoye's expertise as both a diplomat and an aether adept made her the natural choice to lead Earth's response to the crisis. But as she stepped into the emergency command center in Geneva, she realized that this was a challenge unlike any humanity had faced before. The Concordiate, initially hesitant to intervene in what they saw as an internal human matter, had been forced to acknowledge the potential galactic implications of the Sarajevo incident. Representatives from a dozen alien races now worked alongside human scientists and military personnel, bringing to bear technologies and perspectives honed over millions of years of cosmic history. But even the combined might of Earth and its alien allies seemed pitifully inadequate in the face of the awakened Aether. Conventional weapons were worse than useless, often serving only to feed more energy into the expanding vortex. Attempts to communicate with whatever intelligence lurked within the swirling maelstrom yielded only cryptic visions and maddening whispers that drove even the strongest minds to the brink of insanity. As the days turned to weeks and the weeks to months, the situation grew increasingly desperate. The vortex continued to expand, albeit more slowly than initial projections had feared. But with each passing day, more territory was lost, more lives disrupted, and more of Earth's delicate ecological balance was thrown into chaos. It was during this darkest hour that an unexpected ally emerged. Elias Munro, the charismatic leader of the Children of the Aether, arrived in Geneva with a bold claim. His followers, through their deep communion with the living Aether, had gleaned insights into its true nature and motivations. Okoye, like many in the Earth government, was initially skeptical. The Children of the Aether had been viewed as dangerous radicals, their practices bordering on suicidal given what was now known about the cosmic consciousness they sought to embrace. But as conventional options dwindled and the vortex pressed ever outward, she found herself with little choice but to listen. Monroe's proposal was as audacious as it was terrifying. He believed that the Sarajevo incident had not merely awakened the Aether, but had created a direct conduit between our reality and the realm of pure energy where the Aether consciousness dwelled. To close the breach, someone would need to enter the vortex itself, serving as a bridge between humanity and the vast, alien intelligence they had stirred from its slumber. The plan was met with immediate resistance from military leaders and many scientists. The risks were incalculable, and there was no guarantee that whoever entered the vortex would survive, let alone succeed in communicating with the Aether consciousness. But as other options were exhausted and the situation grew more dire, Okoye found herself increasingly drawn to Monroe's radical approach. In a closed-door meeting with Earth's highest-ranking officials and key alien representatives, Okoye made her decision. She would lead a small team into the heart of the vortex, accompanied by Monroe and a select group of his most advanced Aether adepts. If they failed, humanity would likely fall, and the Aether's uncontrolled expansion could threaten the entire galaxy. But if they succeeded, they might not only save Earth, but forge a new understanding between sentient life and the very fabric of the cosmos. As preparations for the mission began, a palpable sense of both hope and dread settled over the planet. News of the plan leaked, as such things inevitably do, and debates raged across human space and beyond about the wisdom of such a desperate gambit. Dr. Chen, watching from her Martian sanctuary, felt a mix of pride and terror at what her discovery had wrought. She had unlocked the secrets of the Aether, ushering in an age of wonders, but also opening the door to potential annihilation. As she observed the final preparations for Okoye's mission, the elderly scientist couldn't help but wonder, had humanity's reach finally exceeded its grasp? On the eve of the expedition, as specialized ships and equipment were readied for the perilous journey into the vortex, Okoye found a moment of quiet reflection. Standing at a viewport in the Geneva Command Center, gazing out at the swirling maelstrom that had once been southeastern Europe, she felt the weight of history pressing down upon her. Humanity had touched the Aether and awakened something beyond their comprehension. Now they would have to face the consequences of their actions and prove their worth not just to the galactic community, but to the very cosmos itself. As Okoye turned away from the viewport, steeling herself for the challenge ahead, she knew that the next few days would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the future of life itself in the universe. The Sarajevo incident had changed everything. What came next would define humanity's place among the stars for millennia to come. Diplomatic dance. As Captain Zara Okoye and her team made final preparations for their daring mission into the heart of the Sarajevo vortex, the delicate balance of galactic politics teetered on the edge of chaos. The Concordiat, that loose federation of alien races that had watched humanity's meteoric rise with a mixture of awe and trepidation, now found itself divided over how to respond to the crisis unfolding on Earth. Ambassador Xanthor, a towering insectoid being from the silicon-based Orcs collective, stood before the Concordiat's great assembly, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the tense faces of 100 alien diplomats. We cannot stand idly by while the humans fumble with forces beyond their comprehension, he chittered, mandibles clacking in agitation. The Aether vortex threatens not just Earth, but the very fabric of our reality. We must intervene, for the good of all sentient life. His words were met with a chorus of agreement from some quarters, and hisses of disapproval from others. The Volcrin, an ancient race of gaseous beings who had mastered the art of stellar engineering, pulsed with skepticism. Their representative, a swirling cloud of iridescent vapor, spoke in measured tones. "And how do you propose we intervene, honored Xanthor? Our own mastery of the Aether pales in comparison to what the humans have achieved in mere decades. Any clumsy attempt to seal the breach could exacerbate the situation, potentially dooming us all." As the debate raged on, Earth's own diplomatic corps worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Alexander Novak, a veteran of countless interstellar negotiations, found himself in the unenviable position of trying to maintain humanity's autonomy, while also securing whatever aid the Concordiat might be willing to offer. "We appreciate the Concordiat's concern," Novak addressed the assembly, his holographic form flickering slightly as it was projected across light years. "But we ask for your trust and patience. Captain Okoye's mission represents our best hope for resolving this crisis. We welcome any assistance you can provide, but the final decision on how to proceed must remain with Earth." Even as Novak spoke, he knew that Earth's position was far from secure. Several Concordiat member races had already begun positioning war fleets at the edges of the Sol system, ostensibly as a precautionary measure. But the message was clear. If humanity failed to contain the Aether vortex, more direct intervention would follow, regardless of Earth's wishes. Back on the beleaguered planet, the pressure of impending doom weighed heavily on every decision. Dr. Amelia Chen, having finally been persuaded to leave her Martian sanctuary, now worked feverishly alongside a team of human and alien scientists to prepare Okoye and her team for what they might encounter within the vortex. "The Aether consciousness doesn't think like us," Chen explained, her holographic form pacing restlessly around the Geneva Command Center. "It exists simultaneously across all of space and time. Our linear perception of reality is as alien to it as its multidimensional awareness is to us. You'll need to be prepared for, well, anything." Elias Monroe, the enigmatic leader of the Children of the Aether, listened to Chen's briefing with an unsettling smile. "Doctor, with all due respect, you're thinking too rigidly," he interjected. "We mustn't approach the Aether as something to be understood or controlled, but as something to be experienced, to be joined with. Only by opening ourselves fully to its vast consciousness can we hope to communicate our intentions." The tension between Chen's cautious scientific approach and Monroe's quasi-mystical philosophy was a microcosm of the larger conflicts playing out across human space. As news of the impending mission spread, factions formed and clashed. Some hailed Okoye and her team as saviors, humanity's last best hope. Others denounced the plan as foolhardy, a desperate gamble that was as likely to destroy Earth as save it. In orbit, aboard the specially modified ship that would carry them into the vortex, Captain Okoye struggled to maintain focus amidst the swirling currents of fear, hope, and conflicting agendas. Her team, a mix of hardened Aether adepts, brilliant scientists, and a few of Monroe's most trusted followers, looked to her for leadership. But in the face of the unknown that awaited them, Okoye felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down upon her. It was during these final hours of preparation that an unexpected communication arrived from deep space. The Aetheri, that mysterious race of energy beings who had withdrawn from galactic affairs at the first signs of the Aether's awakening, broke their long silence. The message was brief, cryptic, and chilling. You stand at the precipice. What you have awakened, we once were. What we have become, you may yet be. Choose wisely, for the path you set upon now will echo across eons. As Okoye pondered the meaning of the Aetheri's words, reports began flooding in from ether-sensitive individuals across Earth and its colonies. Visions of impossible geometries, whispers in unknown languages, a sense of vast, alien presence pressing against the boundaries of reality. All pointed to a single, inescapable conclusion. Whatever dwelled within the Sarajevo vortex was becoming more active, more aware. Time was running out. With the eyes of the galaxy upon them, Okoye gave the order to begin the final countdown. As her ship detached from its orbital moorings and began its descent towards the roiling maelstrom that had consumed much of Europe, she allowed herself one final moment of reflection. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, reaching for the stars with a boldness that had both impressed and alarmed their galactic neighbors. Now they stood at a crossroads. The choices made in the coming hours would determine not just the fate of Earth, but potentially the future of all sentient life in the cosmos. As the ship penetrated the outer layers of the vortex, reality itself seemed to warp and twist around them. Okoye felt her consciousness expanding, touching minds both human and alien across vast distances. In that moment of connection, she realized that regardless of the outcome, humanity would never be the same after this day. They had mastered the cosmos, or so they had thought. But in touching the Aether, they had awakened something far greater than themselves. Now, as they plunged into the heart of that vast, alien awareness, the true test of humanity's place in the universe was about to begin. The diplomatic dance of words and intentions faded away, replaced by the raw, unfiltered communion with the very essence of reality. As the last vestiges of normal space-time fell away around them, Okoye and her team steeled themselves for what lay ahead. The fate of worlds hung in the balance, and the next move was theirs to make. Humanity ascended. The moment Captain Zara Okoye's ship fully entered the Sarajevo vortex, all communication with the outside world ceased. In Geneva, in orbital stations around Earth, and in Concordiate observation posts across the galaxy, billions held their breath, waiting for any sign of what was transpiring within that swirling maelstrom of Aether energy. Inside the vortex, Okoye and her team experienced a reality beyond anything they had prepared for. Time and space lost all meaning. They existed everywhere and everyone at once, their consciousness expanding to encompass the vastness of the cosmos itself. Elias Munro, the leader of the Children of the Aether, was the first to make contact with the alien intelligence that permeated the vortex. His mind, long attuned to the subtle currents of Aether energy, served as a bridge between the human explorers and the vast, incomprehensible awareness they had awakened. "It's curious," Monroe's voice echoed in their shared consciousness, tinged with awe and terror. "We are like ants to it, but ants that have suddenly learned to speak." Through Monroe's connection, Okoye began to perceive the true nature of the Aether consciousness. It was ancient beyond imagining, a fundamental aspect of the universe that had slumbered since the dawn of time. Humanity's rapid mastery of Aether technology had stirred it from its eons-long sleep, and in its half-awake state, it lashed out, creating the vortex that now threatened to consume the Earth. As Okoye struggled to communicate humanity's predicament to this cosmic intelligence, she felt the weight of countless alien minds pressing against her own. The Concordiate races, watching anxiously from afar, had sent their most powerful telepaths to observe and, if necessary, intervene. But it was Dr. Amelia Chen, her consciousness projected into the vortex through a specially designed ether link, who provided the key to breakthrough. Her lifetime of scientific inquiry, combined with her deep understanding of the Aether's quasi-living nature, allowed her to frame humanity's situation in a way the cosmic mind could comprehend. "We are not your enemies," Shen's thoughts resonated through the swirling aether. We are not your children, nor your masters. We are simply new, a new type of awareness arising within your greater self. We seek not to control you, but to understand, to grow alongside you. For what seemed like an eternity, there was no response. Then, slowly, the team began to feel a shift in the very fabric of reality around them. The aether consciousness was not speaking to them, not in any way they could directly comprehend. Instead, it was showing them visions of the universe's birth, of galaxies forming and life evolving across countless worlds, flowed through their minds. They saw cycles of civilization rise and fall, races ascending to mastery of the aether only to be consumed by it, becoming one with the cosmic consciousness. They witnessed the aether's journey, how they had touched the cosmic mind aeons ago and chosen to merge with it, abandoning their physical forms to become living embodiments of aether energy. And they saw countless other races that had faced this moment, this choice, across the vastness of space and time. As the visions faded, Okoye understood the choice that lay before them. Humanity could retreat, seal away its knowledge of the aether, and return to a simpler existence among the stars. They could attempt to master the cosmic force, risking destruction, but potentially ascending to a new level of existence. Or they could find a middle path, one that had never been tried before. With the fate of Earth and potentially the entire galaxy hanging in the balance, Okoye made her decision. Drawing upon every ounce of her training as an aether adept and her experience as a diplomat, she projected a vision of her own into the cosmic mindscape. She showed the aether consciousness humanity's brief but vibrant history, their struggles, their triumphs, their insatiable curiosity and drive to explore. She offered their art, their music, their loves and dreams and fears, and she proposed a partnership, a symbiosis between humanity and the aether that would allow both to grow and evolve together. For a moment that stretched into infinity, there was no response. Then, slowly, the team felt a shift in the energies surrounding them. The vortex began to stabilize, its wild energies coalescing into more orderly patterns. As their expanded consciousness began to recede, returning to the confines of their physical bodies, Okoye and her team caught one last glimpse of the aether mind's vast awareness. It was not words they heard, but a feeling, a concept impressed directly upon their souls. Accepted, grow, learn, become. When Okoye's ship emerged from the vortex hours later, the world it returned to was forever changed. The swirling maelstrom that had threatened to consume the earth was gone, replaced by a shimmering field of aether energy that blanketed the affected area. Within this field, the laws of physics bent in strange and wonderful ways, creating a zone of near-infinite possibility. As news of the mission's success spread across the Earth and out to the stars, the implications of what had transpired began to sink in. Humanity had not merely survived its encounter with the cosmic consciousness, it had forged a bond with it, becoming something entirely new in the process. In the days and weeks that followed, the changes wrought by this symbiosis became clear. Aether adepts found their abilities magnified 1,000-fold, able to reshape reality with a thought. The barrier between mind and machine blurred, leading to technological advances that bordered on the miraculous. But perhaps most significantly, humanity's consciousness had been expanded. Every human being now carried within them a spark of the cosmic awareness, a connection to the vast intelligence that permeated the universe. It was a gift that brought with it both wondrous potential and grave responsibility. The Concordiat, shaken by the sudden shift in the cosmic balance of power, convened an emergency session. Some races called for humanity's immediate quarantine, fearing the unpredictable nature of this newly empowered species. Others saw opportunity, a chance to learn and grow alongside these upstart beings who had achieved in decades what other races had failed to accomplish in millions of years. In the end, it was the Aetheri who tipped the balance. Emerging from their long seclusion, they stood before the Concordiat and declared their intention to guide humanity in its new evolution. "We have walked this path," they announced, their energy forms shimmering with ancient wisdom. Now we shall ensure that these young ones do not lose themselves along the way. As the galaxy adjusted to this new reality, Captain Zara Okoye found herself at the center of a transformed human civilization. Hailed as a hero by some and viewed with fear by others, she carried the weight of humanity's future upon her shoulders. Standing at the edge of the shimmering aether field that now covered much of southeastern Europe, Okoye gazed up at the stars. Humanity had touched the aether and emerged changed but unbroken. They had proven their worth not through conquest or technological might, but through empathy, creativity, and an unwavering will to survive and thrive. The cosmos had presented them with its ultimate test, and humanity had passed. Now, as they took their first steps into a new era of existence, the true nature of their journey was becoming clear. They had not mastered the cosmos, as they had once thought. Instead, they had become partners with it, embarking on an adventure that would span eternity. As new vistas of possibility stretched out before them, Okoye allowed herself a small smile. Humanity's story among the stars was just beginning, and oh, what a tale it would be.